Hello and welcome to our NewsX podcast show, which is Get Candid with Chitvan. Here with me is Sarvagya Mishra, co-founder and director of Superbot. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Chitvan.
So my very first question to you, could you share your journey of how Superbot evolved from a startup idea into an intelligent AI-powered voice agent?
Okay, fair enough. So, obviously, I have been a part of few successful ventures in the past, and in 2018, I thought, obviously, at that time, AI was picking up. So, I thought of doing something into the field of artificial intelligence. So, we started with the textual agent, right? So, for that, the product name is by the name of Superbot for Education. Till date, in fact, it is the only conversational AI agent available for the higher education institutes in India. And in 2020, we took a pivot to voice. The reason we did that was because India is a voice driven market, to be very honest, right? So when we are talking about tier one, tier two, tier three cities, right? Everyone is more comfortable having a verbal communication than, let's say, having a chat or, let's say, going on to the app or anything. And I felt that this market is untapped, especially with the volume of calls that happens in this country. And that's where we pivoted that, okay, let's bring AI into conversational agents, specifically over telephonic conversations, or let's say voice-based conversations. And since 2020, we started this journey, obviously with the higher eds, and now obviously we serve multiple industries, multiple verticals.
So nice. So my next question to you, like what was your biggest challenge you faced during the early days of building Superboat and how did you overcome from it?
Okay. I'm going to put two major challenges in the
Okay.
early days. In fact, so the first was I'm an tech guy, right? So building an AI-based conversation was something that was 50% of the whole solution or the product. The
Mm,
other 50% is the telecom, or let's say the telco side, right?
mm,
So building a complete solution that we can offer to businesses where they have this automated conversational AI-based call centers or BPOs, right? Required a huge amount of telecom infrastructure and that level of technology as well. So learning that was a big challenge, adapting it, implementing here in India, because in India VoIP is illegal, right? So you only have via SIP connections that you can place these calls. So
mm.
that was one of the main challenges that we encountered, for which I think I have spent almost 1 year, right, working with various consultants across the globe, specifically US based people who were, let's say, having 25 years of experience, passed out from Massachusetts, very good domain experts, right? So learned a lot from them and implemented the same here in India. The second part is when we are talking about a product, right? In fact, I like to talk about the solution, because what we offer is a solution, not a product. Okay. So solution is something, let's say I'm saying that I'm going to automate your conversations, right? Telephonic calls. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm saying that, user experience is a very big challenge. One of the key elements in user experience is your turnaround down, let's say, response time, right?
Yeah.
So take it like this: when you're having a chat, right, when you are doing any kind of chatting on the app, on the website, on WhatsApp or anything, you send a message and you get a message in 5 to 8 seconds. It's perfectly normal, right? But when that conversation is happening on a call, right, and if you have said something, within 1 second you expect a reply or the next round of conversation,
Yeah.
right? Now obviously, nowadays technology is evolving, hardwares are evolving, right? But at the same time, processing that audio within 1 second, doing the NLU inference, everything, making sense of it, converting it into again an audio and playing back within 1 second was another challenge that we faced. So as of now, even of today, we face this challenge that what exactly you choose, because if you choose speed, then you have a problem with accuracy. If you choose accuracy, then you have a problem with speed. So anyhow, we benchmark ourselves that we reply to every user query within 1.5 seconds. That's the benchmark that we have created.
Very nice. So my next question to you. You have interrogated customized human voiceover. How does this level person personalization improve the customer experience for your clients?
Okay, I think there is a lot of myth that if these kind of AI-based conversations are doing, and if you use, let's say, human voiceovers, the quality or let's say the user experience or the overall conversion rate or success rate increases. To be very honest, there are multiple studies that have been published in the last year or so, which clearly states that people are now used to, in fact, willing to talk to, let's say, AI based agents or let's say humanoid bots, because they know that, okay, it's a sincere call. You will get the response directly in a very fast manner, appropriate, without any, let's say, misinterpretations or let's say any foul language or anything like that, right? So people do like to talk to humanoid bots, but at the same time few clients insist that, okay, there's a very common term, maza nahi aa rahi, right? We
Hmm.
need, and we need a voice that is more close to a human. So earlier we used to do audio recordings, right, of let's say even celebrities, which were their brand ambassadors, and they used to do these calls into the voiceover of these artists. Nowadays, as you know, that voice cloning is very much prominent, right? So we try to automate a certain human-like conversation with the help of voice cloning. But to be very honest, what we have seen that because we process more than 1 million calls in a month, right? And these are processed actual conversations that have taken place, and we see that people actually talk more sense, more logical to humanoids than when we use a voiceover.
Yes. So nice. So, how did the idea of Superbot come about while leading Pinnacle Works, and what was the biggest challenge and transformations from the educational force solution to a more industry voice agent?
Okay. So when we were developing Superbot, right? So when the idea of Superbot came, that was back in 2019. Okay. In 2019, there was an yearly event of Google that is by the name of Google I/O, right?
Yeah.
That is one big event of Google. In that, Mr. Sundar Pichai showed a small demo where he was talking to an AI agent, and the AI agent actually was an assistant booking the table. So let's say making reservations, right? At that time, I googled and saw that most of the companies, let's say big short companies, were putting billions and billions of dollars in the research into this voice tech space.
Yeah.
So obviously these companies plan for the future, right? They do not execute or let's say plan for the present. And that pushed me that, okay, voice is obviously, it's a very very big market. If we even look at, let's say, call centers and PPOs,
Yeah.
okay, it's a $1 trillion market. So that was something, I think, that motivated me to pursue our product line into this segment. Secondly, obviously, in my last startups, my product or solution was very much, let's say, geographically restricted or domain specific, right? But when we are talking about this automation of AI agents, it's not limited to any geography or let's say vertical or industry, right? Any business anywhere in the world, right, that has a B2C nature that requires either support or sales based conversations with their customers, right? We can do that. The reason that we started with higher ed, to be very specific, because I had prior very good experience working with these higher ed organizations, right?
Okay.
So the thing is that you need to not exactly provide a product again, but a solution, right? So I knew what exactly was the problem statement, right, of these higher eds, and that's why we launched it for higher eds, and obviously we scaled it down to edtech, coaching institutes, overseas education, then e-commerce, healthcare, right? So the way that we are doing it, our product is ready. It can be used by any organization in any vertical. But the thing is that we try to identify that what exactly is the pain point, right?
Yeah.
Where exactly the organizations are stuck, where exactly we can increase their revenue or let's say lower their costs,
Hmm.
right? And based on that we develop a particular solution and pitch that solution.
So, what sets Superbot apart from other AI powered customers support solution in the market?
Okay, so to be very honest, there are just a handful of companies that are properly doing any AI based and research work into the voice tech and CX space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, most of these companies have transitioned from text to voice. And what they are doing, they are, though on the front end, the product name might be this, but on the back end, the technologies
Mm.
that they are using is of third party. It might be of Microsoft, it might be of Google, it might be of Amazon. So when I say technology, so for example, the first thing that comes into mind is ASR, automatic speech recognition, that is speech to text. Whatever a person says needs to be converted into text for any further processing. Now, how we differentiate, we do not use any external or third party services. In fact, for the ASR, we have created a benchmark. We haven't, let's say, made it public or let's say made a big PR about it. But our ASR model is an English model, which is a unique concept in itself. So, for example, you know that in India, no one talks purely English or let's say purely Hindi, right? Everyone talks in English language, right?
Yeah.
When you go to Google or Microsoft, you would see that there's one ASR model for English and then you have one ASR model for Hindi, right? Now you cannot force your customers or let's say users to talk in a particular language, right? Very much limited to that. So we developed a English ASR model, and just to give you a benchmark, our accuracy is currently standing somewhere around 94 to 95%,
Mm.
which is as per industry standards quite high, right?
Yeah.
So as I said, what sets apart that we do not use any third party APIs, so that let's say empowers us, right, to do these customizations. So when I say customizations, for example, higher eds, right, when we started, there's keywords like BTech, MCA, right, MCA, MBA, okay. Now these are not actual English words, right? These are just acronyms, so let's say kind of words that we like to use, right? There, most of these third-party APIs would fail, right? Because these are actually not English or English Hindi words, right? We specifically train our models on a particular region, on a particular domain, right? So whether you say BTech, Bachelor of Technology, or anything like that, in thousand plus variations, accents, dialects, right? Our ASR models are easily able to identify it.
Yeah. So my next question to you: what are some common misconceptions business have about implementing AI powered voice agent like Superbot?
Okay. Again, I think there are two major segments that clients, I feel, differentiate from where we come in and what exactly we are proposing. Either they over expect, right, or they under expect, right. So for us, even our sales team finds it hard to match the exact expectation. In case of over expectation, right, they expect the AI currently to do what a human is doing. To be very honest, it won't be able to do as of now, okay.
Mm.
So when I say what exactly, there are a lot of soft skills. So for example, doing sales, right, in service, providing that comfort or empathy or having that common sense, right,
Yeah.
to solve a problem on the call itself, where not a design solution is required but something out of the box solution is required, right. Those things AI currently can't do, right, because of very specific reason that the domain knowledge that we feed into these AI models is limited, right. That is one thing. Second is under expectation. So they in India, though AI is a big buzzword, everyone talks about it, but when it comes to the understanding, right, no one actually understands it. Even when a sales team goes, people confuse it with, let's say, voice blasters, IVR solutions, right? That okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have to tell them no. So basically, what Superbot is that it will do a conversation like a human does, exactly like that. The only difference is that that conversation, that use case, has its limitation that it will be driven via logic and data. It will not have common sense. It will not have empathy. It will not have, let's say, that soft skill to sell out a particular product, right? That is something that obviously we companies are working on, would be available in the future. But anything that is monotonous or let's say requires a huge amount of efforts, that can easily be automated with the help of Superbot. For the rest part, obviously humans need to come into the picture.
Okay. So as AI technology continue to evolve, what new capability do you envision for Superbot in next 5 years?
Okay, fair enough. So, what I will say that currently, if I talk about, let's say, a call center agent, okay, so call center agents are normally divided into three categories, right? The first category where the calls are monotonous, right?
Hmm.
So, for example, you get a lot of calls for sales related, either it's credit cards or loans or something else. Then you have service level calls. Let's say you are a student and you have filled up a form onto a website of a university, right? The first level of verification and profiling needs to be done, right? Now all these process can easily be automated with the help of Superbot as of now. The next level, which is where the next level of agents come, that have a certain level of better communication skills, common sense, domain expertise, we call them subject matter experts, right? That is the next level. So for example, currently Superbot does the initial level of verification profiling for every lead that flows into any organization. As soon as the lead is, let's say, genuine, hot, interested in buying a service product, or let's say enrolling, right, that call is transferred to a human agent where the counseling or let's say sales happens,
Hmm.
right? That part would come under Superbot with the advancement of technology. As soon as the data grows, we are piling up data on daily basis, making sure that our models are able to learn, or let's say we fine tune on them on a daily, weekly basis. The next level is that there the agents, let's say AI based agents, will have a certain level of common sense. They will have a certain level of empathy, right? So for example, in that, if I talk about very specific features, so for example, language identification. So identifying that which language the customer is actually comfortable in. So currently we ask that, okay, Chitvan, would you like to speak in English or Hindi? Okay, and you say a language. The better part is
Yeah.
the AI to identify that whether Chitvan is speaking Hindi or English, or
Hmm.
let's say English, which language she is comfortable with, right?
True.
That is the second leg, and obviously the third leg is when you have these hotshot agents that can either give you a awesome support, or let's say do amazing sales, right? That is the third leg. So this is on a conceptual level where we are positioning ourselves, so let's say targeting. Obviously
Okay.
on a macro level there are very small modules like language identifications, right? Having empathy, even the speaking rate. So the best part is that however Chitwan is speaking, right? So I will take your speech rate, that how many words you're speaking per minute, and based on that I will modify my speech as well.
Okay.
So those are small customizations that we are working upon.
So my next question to you: what role do you think AI-powered voice agent will play in the future of customer services?
I think it's going to play a major, huge role. To be very honest, we have seen a very major shift in the way the industry, or let's say the organizations, right, used to operate, behave, or let's say execute. Okay, now even the startup ecosystem, everyone talks about profitability, right, generating revenues rather than just having a projection plan. Okay,
Hmm.
with the help of AI, right, you can easily reduce your cost up to 50 to 60%, right? So that is the big impact. Secondly, if I talk about from the other side of the table, we all have faced. So there was a recent article by one of the media houses, right? Last year Indians have spent around 15 billion minutes, right, just on the waiting time, right? Now obviously when the technology comes in, you call up and you do not even have to wait for a single second, right?
Yeah.
So based on the features, or let's say the provision, or let's say the flexibility or help it is offering us, every business would be adopting it. It's just a matter of time that in what process, up to what level, and what time they are adopting it. Anyways, I think there have been a lot of statement by a lot of senior gentlemen from the industry, including the likes of TCS CEO, that in the next 1 to 2 years, call centers, BPOs will have a major chunk of their calling activities done by AI.
Of
So
course.
obviously it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Very true. So as you reflect on your journey with Superboat, what are you most proud of achieving and what excites you the most about your future?
I think it's the team that we have gathered in the last 3.5 years, right? Here at in our organization, right? It's a very open ecosystem that I have. I mean, normally when we talk about and culture of an organization, that matters the most. So the thing is there that most of the people here in my organization share the common vision, have their separate set of goals, and they work towards it independently. So for example, I never have to push anyone that you work on weekends, or let's say you do this or drop this email in an hour or something like that, right? Everyone is knowing that this is the vision, this is the journey that we are going to take as an organization, and this is my role or my part that I have to play into it, right? And I think that is one of the big achievements, because obviously I believe it's not the product, it's not the solution, it's not the industry, it's the people, it's the team that actually make or break, right? And I have been fortunate enough to have a lot of these kind of people in my team. And obviously, one of the other things that we have a very good client retention rate. Okay, so I mean, whatever clients even we onboard for small POCs, proof of concept projects, right? We have been able to convert each and every of them into full project projects, right? So even as a solution, so let's say product-based company, we spend a lot onto a servicing part, right? We make sure that whenever we onboard a client, we are not there, just there to keep, this is our product, you can use it, right? We are there that, okay, this is your problem statement, we will solve it. If we even have to go out of the boundary, right, to help or let's say solve that particular problem, we do that. And I think that's where our clients also value us a lot.
So nice. So, my last question to you: what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to launch their own tech startups in today's competitive landscape?
Uh, I think it might sound a bit cliche, right? Because I have learned that in the hard manner. So I have launched 3 to 4 startups in my journey, and I think more than 50% of them failed, either because I thought that was a problem, but that was actually not a problem. Or
Yeah.
let's say I tried home automation back in 2013, right? At that time, internet penetration was also not even proper, right? Right now, you think of home automation, even the big shot electronic companies are offering in each and every one of their switches as well, right? So everything has a time, right? Secondly, obviously, you might think that it's a big problem, or let's say it might be solving something, but it might not be the case, right? So I see that a lot of people just jump into the entrepreneurship and try to do something, right? Which is good enough, because obviously until you try, right, you're not going to learn, explore, and learn, right? But at the same time, you should have a better clarity, because whatever success you can achieve in 5 years would get delayed by 3 to 4 years. And the problem with the current market, or let's say industry or ecosystem, is right now that the world is changing so fast. Even for us as a co-founder of a company, I feel scared at times that how exactly I'm going to match up with the ever evolving technology and the pace at which it is evolving, considering obviously you have a lot of big shot companies competing in this space, right? So it's a very cutthroat competition. To find something niche, or let's say very particular, that no one else is doing, is really hard. The only thing is that, okay, how can you do it better or different from anyone else that is doing it?
To all our listeners, I hope this conversation has sparked new ideas and perspective. Until next time, keep evolving, keep innovation. As always, stay candid.